procrastination. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me, and I said I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power every single day. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
What is going on, guys? It's your boy Patrick, and in today's video it's going to be a 600/700 subscriber Q&A. I meant to do this for 600 subscribers, but I'm really close to 700, so I thought I'd just do it whatever. I got my protein shake here. I posted this picture up on Instagram, and I said comment down below questions for my Q&A. So I got them all right here on my phone. I'm gonna throw the question up on the screen, answer it, and then yeah, so this is what you guys asked me. So make sure to follow me on Instagram for other stuff like this, and let's get right into the questions. So how long have I been lifting for? I've been lifting for about 3.5 years. I started when I was 16, and now I'm currently 19, but going to be 20 this November. So 3.5 years. The first year and a half, 2 years, I wasn't really going that seriously. But the last year, I really kind of like educated myself, and now I'm training a lot more properly and eating right, all that stuff. So basically, the last year and a half, I've been going super serious. But before that, the 2 years, I was kind of just like, I don't know, kind of doing it for the wrong reasons, kind of not having that much like valuable information, like not training properly, I would say. But yeah. So what are your most memorable PRs/milestones? So I started on bench with like 25 on each side. So what's that, 90? So 90 pounds or whatever it is, 95 pounds. So when I hit 135, that was a pretty big milestone on bench. Just because I think I hit it when I weighed 135. So like it was the first time where my bench PR 1 rep max and my weight kind of like met, and I could do my body weight for 1 rep, which was, you know, as a skinny kid, that was super exciting. And then after that, I would say 2 plates on bench, of course, is a huge milestone also. And then I guess just my 3-plate squat would be another one. But yeah, most memorable would have to be 135 bench, 225 bench, and then 315 squat for right now. All right, are you gonna do some collabs soon? I mean, most of the people that I follow and that I like, they've actually talked to a couple bigger like Instagram people on DMs. But the problem is, like, some of them have nice, like, I'll throw this DM up right here of me and Merkel Fitness. Super genuine guy, actually takes the time to talk to me, and we actually have good conversations, talk about training, talk about life, talk about that stuff whenever he answers me. You know, it's always awesome to talk to people like that. And he's got almost, I think, 500,000 followers, a Gymshark sponsorship, all these things, you know, just doing well for himself, which I really respect. And of course, like, we're in the same industry. So, I mean, he talked to me for a bit. We talked about a collab. I was hoping it was gonna happen, but he lives all the way in Ohio. I live in Canada, and a lot of these like big people that I've reached out to and that I'm fans of, they all live like super far away, which is annoying. So I'm down to do collabs with anyone like from my city. I live in Mississauga, Canada, like Ontario. So honestly, go to my Instagram, send me messages and DMs of like people you want me to collab with from my area, and like I'd be down to collab with like anyone. Honestly, you know, just building a community, really in the space. So why did you start lifting? Basically, kind of the classic tale of being that like super skinny anorexic kid that's like in everyone's class, you know, the skinny kid in school. I was about 115 pounds when I started, and just super insecure about your body, you know, like you feel like a twig. And like, I mean, I didn't get picked on a ton because like I was pretty likable and I had friends, but you know, you still feel like the common roast of like, oh, skinny twig, you know, like whenever you get into like a beef with someone or something like that, that comes up and that, like, you know, sparks a sensitive spot. So really just being insecure and like kind of wanting to just be the best person I can be. So that's really what kind of got me started in school to lifting. What do you think about fasting, water fasting? I mean, I've never actually tried to fast. I know a lot of people rave about like intermittent fasting, but all it really is like if you're trying to lose weight and you intermittent fast, it's just a matter of you shorten how long you can eat for, so then you eat less calories. I mean, I've never actually done a fast, but you know, people do it for Ramadan and stuff like that. I'd maybe be interested to try, like maybe not intermittent fasting, but maybe like maybe I'll do a 24-hour fast challenge or like a 48-hour fast, but I've never done it, and I love my food, so I don't know how that would go. What motivates you to keep grinding? For me, now that I know what I'm kind of doing, I see constant results, so I'm kind of addicted to like getting the results, and I'm addicted to always bettering myself. Like, you know that even if you don't see the results right away, you know that every time you go into the gym, like, you're bettering yourself in one aspect of your life, which is like your health, and I guess you could say like your aesthetics, what you look like, I guess, right? So just kind of being obsessed with always self-improvement is what kind of keeps me motivated. Next. How long after you really dedicated yourself to fitness did you see obvious results? So the first 2 years, I was kind of off and on, not that consistent. So I wouldn't say I was dedicated then. I saw some results, I definitely progressed, but that's newbie gains. And kind of, as long as you're doing some type of training and eating somewhat good, you're going to get results in the beginning. But basically I would say right after my first and a half year and second year is when I actually dedicated myself, and that's when I went from like 140 pounds to 170 pounds. That's when I got my most results. I basically dedicated myself for a full year to consistency, consistently eating properly, consistently working out, not skipping anything. And that's when all my lifts basically transformed, and that's when I got the greatest body transformation. And the good thing about it is when you get consistent with something, like how religiously I was consistent with my plan, like now that I'm doing other stuff, I'm still super consistent. So the results kind of like carry over, and I keep building on top of that, basically. As a 14-year-old, should we focus on cutting or lean bulking? So I'd say for probably 90% of people, if you're really skinny, definitely lean bulk, don't cut. If you're skinny fat, I'd also say lean bulk, don't cut. I mean, the only way I would tell a 14-year-old to start cutting would be like if you're morbidly obese, and I still wouldn't recommend like cutting. I would just say maybe eat your maintenance, maybe eat a 200 calorie deficit with very high protein, just because when you're young, like, you have so many hormones going in your body when you're going through puberty. It's basically like being on steroids. So you don't want to waste that time cutting and not building the most muscle you could. So that's basically why I recommend for almost everybody to stay on a calorie surplus. When did you notice a lot of arm gains? What did you do to make the most growth? Just consistently train them? Arm day? Alright. So basically, I kind of neglected, obviously when you start, your first goal is most people like arms and shoulders. So I saw good growth just from obviously newbie gains, right? Stuff like that. But then I kind of hit a plateau, and then I hurt my elbow, a bunch of stuff basically. And then what I did was, instead of going, like, I was doing a push-pull leg split, but just to like allow my elbow to recover and then take a little bit less time in the gym, I lowered my split from 6 days a week down to 4 days a week. And then what I did with that was I did legs, an arm and shoulder day, push pull, and then that's 4. Yeah, so I would just do that every week. And I mean, it kind of sucked because as I love the gym, I was in the gym less, which kind of sucked. But I had to let my body heal. I had to, switch it up a bit, right? And then when I did that, when I had a dedicated arm day, I really saw a lot of growth with that, just because usually you hit your arms after like a push and a pull, right? So you're kind of already fatigued, but when you go in there like on an arm day or arm and shoulder day, like, you're fully fresh, you're fully focused. Instead of just tacking it on the end of the workout, you're really like taxing it in the beginning, and that's when I saw a good amount of growth. And also I would say, forget always progressively overloading with arms. I would say try to slow down your movement, really control the squeeze and contraction on the movement, and really improve your mind-muscle connection. Once I did that, I saw a lot of gains in my arms. Damn. If you could only do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be? This is kind of a hard one. I mean, maybe squats, just because that's like brutally the hardest. So it's always fun to progressive overload on that. And you could get super strong on squats, obviously, and you'd be able to lifting an insane amount. But I don't know. It probably would be bench, just because, you want your chest to be juicy. That way you hit your shoulders too, and you hit some triceps. So, I mean, yeah, it'd probably have to be bench. But then, like, you're abandoning the bicep curl. Like, how can you abandon the bicep curl? I don't know, man. That's a hard one. So long-term goals on the big 3 lifts. I don't know if this guy's talking like career goals. Maybe, okay, I'll just say career goal. I mean, I think I'd be happy with like a 365 bench, a 500, maybe a 500 squat, and probably a 600 deadlift. That might be very ambitious, but I mean, I'm planning on lifting for the rest of my life, so I feel like I could do it. We'll see. How to improve your squat and add weight. I'm assuming he means to the squat. I would say if you're getting into squatting, definitely hit your 5x5, which is 5 reps, 5 sets. That exploded my squat. I'd make sure to tell you to get your form proper. Like, that should be number 1. Then secondly, do your 5x5s. Number 3, you got to progressively overload. So try adding 5 to 10 pounds, whatever you can manage each week on your 5x5. And then also, I would say make sure to be always stretching and doing mobility work and like using a roller and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, with your upper body, it might not matter too much, but when you're squatting and a lot of weight on your back, you want your mobility to be perfect. And that's something I really neglected. And once I took that into account and I started working with like a physiotherapist, basically, one of my friends, and just, doing stuff at home, researching about it, that's when I really saw a lot of progress. And it almost was like easier to squat. So like instead of when you're down in the hole with the weight on your back, you kind of feel like you're about to die. Like, I still feel like that way because, you're progressively overloading, but it's like I don't feel like hard stretches or like tight areas where like I feel like, shit, I might pop something, I might rip this, I might do that. So that's something you need to focus on for sure. So I'd say mobility, your 5x5s, proper form, and then just progressive overload. And then last thing, like with everything in the gym, you got to be consistent. All right, so I also posted a thing on my story for people that wanted to ask questions, but maybe wanted to be anonymous to do that. So I'm going to answer those now. So how do you stay energized through your workouts? I do take pre-workout. I do take like caffeine pills and that stuff. What I recommend it for everyone, I would say make sure you have proper cardiovascular health, because it does get your heart pumping pretty fast. So if you don't have very good cardiovascular health, I wouldn't recommend pre-workout. Always do your own research, of course. If you don't want to take pre-workout, or if you want another tip, what I do, so when I track my workouts, I'll track it in my notes, and I'll have the weight that I did on that exercise last week. So I see that weight in my notes when I'm going through what I'm supposed to do this week, and then I see what I hit last week, and it kind of motivates me to like beat that, or so I'm constantly progressing, like gaining, even if it's like maybe an extra rep, or like if I do 5 more pounds, like it's kind of pushing me. Because when you don't track, you don't really remember exactly what you did for how many exactly. So when you track, I would say track your workouts, track the weights you lifted on everything. I do that for everything, accessories and compounds. And then that way you're kind of always mentally pushing yourself, because you know what you did last week. And if you want to progress, obviously you got to train harder than you did last time. So have you ever considered using PEDs in the future, SLARMs/steroids? So PEDs are performance enhancing drugs. Have I considered them? I mean, I feel like anyone who is passionate about fitness and been consistent has obviously considered them. I've done my research. I don't think right now it's worth me going on SLARMs or steroids. Obviously, I'm natural right now. Would I consider them in the future? Was the question. I mean, of course I would. I've considered them like basically when I got consistent, but obviously I didn't go through with it because I did my research. I decided I didn't want to, but in the future, I feel like I would definitely consider it. Would I do it? I mean, I'd have to see kind of what's happening, like financial status, because if you want to do like SLARMs or steroids seriously and properly, I should say safely, you do have to have a good financial chunk of money. You have to be financially stable to do that. Just because of all the doctors and costs that come along with it, doing it properly and safely. So I'd have to see that. Obviously, I'd have to see what's going on with my family life, and I'd obviously have to see what my genetic potential is. Like, I don't think I would use SLARMs or steroids before I hit my genetic limit. After that, that's maybe when I would seriously consider it, and then see what's going on with the rest of my life, obviously, to make that choice. But I definitely would consider it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And then the last one, do you always feel skinny even when you've gained a ton of muscle, or do I just have that problem? Bro, you're not alone. Every gym goer, I feel like everyone that's gone to the gym and is currently going to the gym suffers with that problem of never being satisfied. Do I think it's a bad thing? Probably not. That skinny kid from high school is always going to be inside me no matter how big I get. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. So I feel like everyone suffers with that a little bit. Do I? Of course I do. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to you with that. But, you know, we just got to keep improving. You know, you're never going to get that perfect physique that you want, but that's just fine because it gives you something to always chase and always strive for. So that's basically all the questions I got. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please leave a like rating if you did enjoy, comment, any other videos, ideas that you guys have. I hope you're all safe in quarantine. Thank you for 600 and probably going to be 700 subscribers very soon. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.